Hello, 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 and welcome to The Cup, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the real in the tea in reality, and we can always come to us first to quench your thirst. I'm your girl, Lana, your resident evil diva, and I'm here to give the tea, spill the tea, and drink the tea because you know I love me some tea. Her. I am not drinking anything today because honestly, I just didn't go grab anything. So it is what it is, but what I do have and always have by, just in case I get thirsty, is my cup mug. And you can get your cup mug at lanagcreations.etsy.com. That link will be in the description below. And we do ship internationally and domestically, so there are no excuses unless there are some, and you know what those excuses are. So I don't have to tell you, but if those are your circumstances, we are praying for you and we're hoping that everything works out for you and yours. And when you are ready to celebrate, celebrate with some cup merch. Purr.
And hola, I am Eduardo, the Mexican representative of this podcast. I am here to talk shit and get hit. I will apologize just right now in case you can hear some music in the background. There's nothing I can do about that. I am so sorry, but just in case. Today I am drinking water like always because hydration is important.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Already. We know this already.
You know. But yeah. Unfortunately for you, we don't hear anything, so that's a good thing. I
Thankfully,
don't
because
hear
I can't
anything.
hear it. Damn.
I know it's probably very loud for you, but it's not picking up. So we're good. And
Good.
we are here talking Drag Race UK. We have a Rusical happening. And you know what? I'm excited to talk about it because it was a good episode this week, a
Yes, it
fun
was.
episode to talk about. And we are going to do just that. But first, before we dive into it, hit the subscribe button, hit the all the buttons down there, the subscribe, the follows, the shares, everything that you can push to support us. If you hit the dislike button, hit it twice. And we really appreciate all of you for all of your support. We hope you continue to support us and this channel, and get your friends to support us too, because we're giving you almost all things. Well, we're giving you almost all things drag and drag race. We're covering so many seasons of Drag Race right now. We have UK, we have Down Under, we have Thailand, and
España.
Canada's España, and Canada's coming soon. So we're about to be in a 5 season drag race for a little while. So we're excited though. We're excited. We're excited.
All good
We're
drag.
here. All good. We're in a good spot for drag because every season so far that we're covering right now are really good seasons. We're really enjoying all of them. So check us out for that. We have 3 other channels that you can follow us on and check us out and support, and we really, really appreciate the support on all of our channels. All those links will be in the description. All those links will be in the description below, as well as our audio podcast link and our Patreon to get early access and exclusive content across all 4 of our channels. All of that is down in the description below. So please, please, please follow us and do all the things. Subscribe to the channels. Da, 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 pop, pop, pop. All right. Drag Race UK. It's just me and Eduardo, so we're gonna try to keep it cute and keep it tight and keep it right, but we're gonna tell you our thoughts
Oh
for
yes.
sure. But it started out with um we just lost who did we
Chanel.
just lose? Chanel. Jeez, my goodness, her name wouldn't come to me. Sorry. Yes, we just lost Chanel, and she leaves a very long message on the board
Because
on
of
the
course.
mirror. But of course, it's Chanel. So of course, Relisa sends her home. So she's like, I feel bad, but somebody had to go and it couldn't be me. So I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, like, yeah, that. Chanel goes home. Everybody's like, they expressed how they felt. Like Marmalade was like, me and Chanel had our moments, but I do love the girl and I hope nothing but the best. And you know, can't wait to see what happens after this. Everybody says Chanel's good, but it was just her time to go. Not too much dwelling on the loss of Chanel. We were congratulating Kyron and Lavoie for their double win. And everybody was very happy for them. And Lavoie was like, it would have been great for it to be solo, but it is what it is. Kyron got her third badge, and Kyron was very happy. Some of the girls looked a little annoyed,
Pressed.
a little pressed, a little,
Not everyone was
little
happy.
for yeah. Not everybody was happy for Kyron. Everybody was happy for Lavoie,
Yeah.
but not everyone was happy for Kyron. Still, it was interesting. It was very interesting, and that is going to come into play throughout this
Yeah. It
episode.
will show up again soon enough.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But they didn't waste a whole lot of time talking about that because Lisa was like, look, let me get out of this. So they quickly got out of drag and they moved on. The next day, everybody comes back into the workroom. Lavoie with her 2 pins, Kyron with her 3 on her hat. She's like, "Ooh, all these pins are weighing my head down. I don't know what to do. Oh my god!" And everybody's like,
I also really love that Lavoie kind of forgot that you need 2 hands to count to 7, because she said, I can count all of us in 1 hand. Oh wait, hold on.
Oh wait, if you had 2 more fingers up,
I was living. I was living. I was like, Lavoie, I love you. You're so
love,
dumb. I love
love
you.
Lavoie, love Lavoie. She's so funny and crazy. She's like, you put up 1 hand and then 2 more fingers.
What do
That's
you
how many
got?
is in the workroom. But I hope she revisits that when they finally do get down to 5, and she can be like, and now you can put up 1 hand.
Yes.
I would love
Finally.
that. It was so good. But then we move. They're talking, and everybody's congratulating Chara for finally being in her top era because she finally was no longer safe.
Mhm.
She got some feedback. They let her know what they felt. So she was in her top era, and everybody's trying to figure out what's next. And they were like, we're going to look. Kyron was like, yes, I just want to get my 4th win. And it's just a lot of Kyron Lavoie, the girls kind of just congratulating them and,
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. Then, of course, Rue comes in and Rue lets them know that the Maxi Challenge is a rusical of Tops of the Pops,
Yes.
featuring pop diva icon legends, the moments, and the UK pop diva legends, the moments. And they were going to sing live.
Yes.
And everybody
Legendary.
was like, "Ooh,
Lavoie was the
oh!"
only one that was super excited. Everyone else was nervous as hell.
I was like, "Oh, singing live. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay."
Terrifying.
Terrifying,
Lord.
terrifying.
I
But
literally wrote down live singing, so Lavoie's gonna win.
yeah, literally my thoughts. I was like, "Okay, so we know what's happening here," which is fine if that's the case, but it has to be deserved, and we'll talk about it
Yeah, we'll
later.
talk about it.
But they Kyron and Lavoie, since they had won the last Maxi challenge,
Hmm.
they got to select who got what parts in the musical. And we had a bevy of divas and icons and divos, if you will.
Hmm.
Um, we had and I think I knew all of them but one. And that
I
was
I didn't
go
know a
ahead.
lot of them, honestly.
I knew all of them except one. I knew Elton John,
Hmm.
George Michael,
Yeah,
Adele,
yeah.
um, uh, Jerry Holloway, and Kylie Minogue. I knew her. The only one I didn't know was Lil's character, which was no Lil's character and Lavoie's character.
Yeah.
The host, I can't even remember the name. I should have wrote that down.
I don't.
Um, Uh, but those are the 2 I didn't know, but I
Mhm.
knew everybody else, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I actually do know most of these UK divas, even though Kylie Minogue is not from the UK, she's from Australia, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
That's semantics, semantics."
Yes,
But
really. Uh, yeah, I also knew a lot of them, surprisingly.
Mhm.
Um, but I also did not know who Lavoie's character is. I did not know who Lil's character is. When they said her name, I did not know who Octavia's character was
Oh,
until I saw like
uh-huh.
the outfit, and I was like, "Oh, it's Ginger Spice." Okay, I get it
Yes.
now. Okay. But yeah, I was shocked by how many people I actually knew. I was like, "Oh, okay. This is more accessible than I thought." I am
Right.
living.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I actually do know.
Yeah, like I also thought that I didn't know Kyron's character, but then I saw who he was, and I was like, "Oh yeah, the original Careless Whisper." Yeah,
Yes.
of
I
course.
will be your father. Put your tiny hand in my hand. Careless whisper. I love me some George Michael. Not going to lie. I am a fan of George Michael. Before he came out, I thought I was going to marry that man because I thought he was beautiful. And that was me being young and stupid and not having a gaydar at all. And I was
Yeah,
like, oh, I love George Michael. He's so amazing. Oh my God. Um, yeah, that didn't turn out well at for
yeah,
any of us ladies who thought we were going to marry George Michael. But he was a phenomenal artist, great entertainer.
yeah.
If you were like me, you just knew who like Wham. He was in Wham first. That was his first group before he went solo. George Michael loved him. So yeah, fan. I was like very happy that I knew who most of these people were, and I didn't think it was going to be that many people that I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I know them. But thanks for that. I'm glad I did know. I'm trying to stall because I'm trying to find
Well,
where.
I guess I'll talk about a few of like who got which character for now, because I was kind of surprised that Marm chose to do Elton John. Like that
Mhm.
was not something that I thought Marmalade would do. Like that just in my brain, it wouldn't be a character that she would choose. And so when she
Mhm.
did pick it, I was like, okay, this is really interesting. Hopefully it works out in the end, because sometimes these girls take a shot and they just miss completely. So I was a little bit scared. I'm not even gonna lie,
Right,
because Elton
right.
John is one of these like very infamous characters that if you fuck him up, I think you could like it could go really bad. And so I was
Yeah.
like, be careful, Marm. Same thing with Kyron when she picked like her character. I was like, okay, so we're doing another male character. Is it
Yeah.
gonna get stale at this point? Are we gonna get bored, or is this gonna keep working? Like, I'm gonna need to see some sort of like difference between all of your male characters at this point.
Mhm. Yeah. Absolutely. I agree. And that's what I said when I was like another male character. Want to see some range. Want to
Mhm.
see some range from her. But I think she's like if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, that's also
So
fair.
I get it.
So far,
But
it hasn't failed her. So,
it has
like, I get
not.
it.
It has not. So LeVar played Shirley Bassey. That's who I
Mhm.
didn't know. And Lil played Celia Black. That's the other one I didn't know.
There you go.
So there we go. But we go to the rehearsals after they get their parts because okay, Octavia picked Jerry Hollowell from the Spice Girls. Had no idea who Jerry was. Had
She said
no
that
clue.
she invented fascism.
That's what Lavoie says.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Not Octavia.
Lavoie said
Lavoie.
Jerry Holloway well invented fascism, and it was like, wait, nope, nope, sorry, it's feminism. It's like
Lord. Jerry
not
inventing fascism? That would be
Jer-
wild. Can you
Jerry
imagine
Jerry
Ginger
Holloway.
Spice being a fascist?
Oh my
That
god. It's
would be
not from the Spice Girls with girl power, you being a fascist. Like
that would be wild.
that'd be wild. I would be so like I would I would feel betrayed. I
Yeah,
would feel so
honestly,
betrayed. Like,
I would. Like,
what do you
hello?
mean? Hello, Jerry. You were girl power and bye all the time. Like, what do you mean? You going from peace to fascism?
Yeah.
Oh,
What do you mean? If you want to be my lover, you gotta vote for Trump. Like, hello?
what?
Hello?
Hello? No, no, no. I would
Wow.
not. But
That was funny though.
Octavia played Jerry Hollowell. Chara T played Kylie Minogue.
Mhm.
Tyron Thax, George Michael, like we said. Lavoie was Shirley Bassey. Lil was Still Your Black. Marmalade was Elton John. And Relisa was Adele. And so that was kind of interesting. That was kind of cool. We go to the rehearsals after everybody get picked and listen to the songs and they figure out what they want to be. We see them at rehearsals with Michelle Visage and the producer when they were singing. It was nothing really stood out for me except that Kyron was making up her own choreography during the while she was singing for Michelle, and everybody was like,
I was
still a little
living.
pressed, still a little pressed, still a little pressed. They were about Kyron.
Yeah,
Um, Lavoie sounded like Lavoie.
of course. She did
Lavoie,
crack a
she,
little bit, which was
a
a
little
little
bit,
bit
and she was
funny.
like range.
And neither do I.
I was like, "Ooh." It was
I
good
felt
though,
that.
but yeah, it was fine. I felt like everybody was like doing pretty decently during the rehearsals with
Yeah,
Michelle.
a few people did surprise me though. Like, I did not expect Marm to be able to hold a note at all. And so
Mm,
when she was able to do that, I was like, oh, okay, Marm could do well. And then I was scared for Relisa at the very beginning of this.
mm,
Like, I was like, oh, Relisa has to do some really good singing to be Adele. And when it started, I was like, okay, this is not awful singing.
mhm.
We just need to work on it because like right now it's not giving what it needs to give. But like I was kind of shocked because Relisa was just like, I'm not a singer at all. And
Right.
then she started singing. And I was like, you kind of are
You
though.
kind of
You
are
kind of are.
you kind of could be
Yeah.
if you wanted to.
Yeah. If you
You
really
know,
tried, you
r-
could.
you really could. But yeah, I was like, okay, all right. Not mad at it. Not too mad at it at all. Um, yeah, I think Charity just psyched herself out
Yeah.
doing the
Yeah.
rehearsals of the singing and the dancing, especially when it came to the dancing.
Yeah. I also feel like this is just not really a character up Chara's alley. Like this is just not something that I would really see Chara doing like day
Right.
to day. So like I think between all the things of like this is not the character that she wanted, she's not really a singer and she's not really a dancer. This is all
Right.
just things that are like going against her at this point. So she like you can tell that she's really nervous.
And you know what? I I really was at this point, I was like, she probably would have did better being Jerry
Mhm.
because Jerry was a dancer, but not so much. Like Jerry never gave 100%.
Yeah.
Like this, Jerry always gave 50 to 40%. Like, spice up your life. Everybody good. Spice up your life. Like, she wasn't, she was never that.
Yeah.
And so I think she could have did Jerry Hollowell, but like got the choreography from the choreographer and then just brought it down. Like, I don't, and let the background dancers do all the work. And she's just like, oh, I'm good. I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
Jerry. It would have been, I think it would have been good for her, but I wasn't that mad at her, Kylie Minogue either.
Yeah, because it also made it was also funny like
Yeah.
from like what we heard, it felt
Mm-hmm.
like the choreo was easier for Kylie,
Mm-hmm.
surprisingly enough. So
Surprising.
I think for Chera, I think the hardest thing here was the dance. So I
Right.
think with Jerry, she would have struggled a little bit when it came to that.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that she would have done better when it comes to like the characterization in the voice at this
Yes.
point.
Mm-hmm.
But when it came to dancing, I think she would have maybe screwed it up a little bit. So I don't know. This is kind of tough to really tell at this point.
Yeah, it would have been a little bit on each, so it's like whatever, that's fine.
Mhm.
But I liked it. I enjoyed watching these rehearsals and making me go like, "Oh Lord, I don't know what this final product is gonna look like,
Yeah.
but that's fine." I
Yeah.
don't know what the final product is gonna look like, but we will see.
Mhm.
But so they go back to the workroom, and this is where this Kyron talk continues. Um, we have a cute little conversation between Kyron and Lavoie, and they're talking a little bit. But then on the other side of the room,
Hmm.
we have a conversation between Octavia and Chara, and they're talking about Kyron,
Yes.
and they're like, it's, it's really Octavia's like, is Chara getting a little cocky, arrogant to you? Like her confidence is borderlining cocky right now. And Chara's like, yeah, I mean, I see what you mean. It's a little, it's not she doesn't think about how the other girls are feeling in the room when she's just constantly winning and we are not. And she doesn't take our feelings into consideration when she's talking about how great and awesome I am. But it's like, and Octavia's like, it's just a little annoying, a little frustrating, a little. Ugh.
Yeah. Well, this one was weird because like from what we have been shown so far, I have not
Mhm,
seen a lot of like quote unquote cockiness from Kyron. I've seen a lot of confidence, but for me at this point, a lot of the things that they were mentioning felt like there were like a lot of it was jokey or like very
mhm,
like banter esque, and so for me it didn't really feel like cocky to me. And also at this point I was like, well, when you're a queen you don't really care about the pawn, so why should Karen care about what y'all are thinking right now? She's
mhm,
focusing on herself, why are you not focusing on you?
mhm.
So like i I got it. I was like, I get that like when you're in this competition you're like, if someone's constantly doing well you're like getting tired and getting
Mhm.
exhausted and you feel like you're not getting seen. I get it. But at the same time I feel like, well, just you have to keep working on yourself because there's
Right.
nothing you can really do other than be better. Truly, that like in this competition there's nothing else you can do rather than be better. This is not
Right.
Survivor, you cannot vote her out. You
True.
have to like be better
Just gotta be
so that
beater.
she gets in the bottom and then she goes home. Just be better, don't be better.
Absolutely. Don't be bitter, be better. Absolutely. They I mean, I agree. I mean, I understand how people are feeling and how, they were just how they felt in that moment. But it's like, yeah, you can't really be mad at somebody for doing good.
Mhm.
It's really up to you to just be better. And if you're better, then you don't have to worry about nobody else. Right.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, it is what it is. But I think we're there because really nothing else happens.
Yeah, the rest of it is the
It's
musical.
it's, it's the musical. So we're here. I didn't move us fast enough because I didn't have it. Ooh, no, don't like it.
Lord, there you go.
That's the one. Have to remember when it's just two of us, don't do that one. But here's our panel of judges. We have Graham Norton, Miss
Beautiful,
Beverly Knight,
beautiful.
RuPaul, and Michelle Lavasage. This panel looks good this week. This is
Yeah,
a good looking panel.
I do agree with Chara though. She does look like
Christian?
Kris Jenner. Like
Yeah,
this hair does make Michelle look like Kris Jenner.
but it looks good on her. I
Yeah, that's
love
not a
it.
bad thing. I never said that's a bad thing. I just
Yeah,
said
this
that
is
like I do see Kris Jenner wearing this outfit and like having this hair.
I can see it too. And I kind of live for it. I think Michelle is eating this up. This is the best I've seen Michelle for me that I'm like, yes, Michelle work. I love this look. I love it. I think she outshining Rue in this week for me. I'm like, ooh,
I
Rue
mean,
looks
yeah,
good.
I was gonna say Rude does kind of look like this is one of just another RuPaul outfit that we've seen like a bajillion times. We've
Right.
seen like this silhouette a lot. We've seen this kind of like look a lot. So am
Yeah.
I gagged? Not really, but she looks good, like
She looks
always.
good. But Beverly Knight, baby, your
Lord.
waist is snatched.
And also she just kind of stole the show in the
She just
panel.
looks so
She's one of these judges that you can tell just loves drag and loves
good.
being
Mm-hmm.
here. And I always love these judges that are like that don't care and are like
Mm.
screaming like, yes, girl, do your thing. Like
Period.
I
Live.
live.
She looks Stunning, absolutely
Yes.
stunning. And Graham, I love the blue. Love the powder blue suit and the pink shirt. Like it, love it, work. Let's move on to Pops of the Tops, the Rusical. We'll go through and we'll talk about, I don't know if you ranked them, if you probably ranked them.
I did.
I did as well, so we could talk about, we can start with uh and in the order they appeared. So we'll start with Lil as Celia Black.
Okay. Lil had a really difficult scenario because she was like introducing like a few people.
Mm-hmm.
And so being this character can be kind of tough because you're not really putting your character like as the main focus. You're presenting other characters as your main focus, which can be difficult. And I thought she was doing pretty fine.
Mm-hmm.
I did forget about her at some point because she stopped presenting characters, but that's not like any fault of her own. That was the fault of the script. But once she got back on stage, I was excited. I was like, okay, Lil's gonna get her big one. This is the one. And then she started dancing, and she couldn't keep up, and she was the worst dancer out of all of them. So it was tough because like everyone did really well in this musical. So those mistakes really brought her down for me, and
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately that did like put her in last place for me. She was my seventh.
Yeah. She was my seventh as well because for the reasons of, like, I think her character was fine. She really did a good job with her character. She did that part. But when it came to actually performing, it just fell apart. She psyched her own self out with not with knowing how not great of a dancer she is. She just kind of looked, it felt defeated. Like she was just like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it showed in her face, it showed in the performance, it showed even her actions afterwards when she was on the main stage. Like, I'm just glad it's over with. It's kind of like it was just so defeated, and it just didn't, it wasn't as entertaining as I know it could have been, because Lil is so, her personality is so funny and she is very entertaining. But I feel like she is one of those people, when she is something that she's not comfortable with, she's not gonna, it once she made up in her mind that she's not gonna do well, it is what it is at that point. It's like, let me
Yeah.
just get it done and over with, I'm be fine.
Also, she
And
does look like Chanel with this wig.
yes, very much. Very much. But I thought, yeah, Lil was my seventh in this, unfortunately. But then we move on to Lavoie as Shirley Bassey.
I mean, Lavoie, like coming right after Lil, it was just like it kind of buried Lil a little bit, unfortunately, because we all knew that Lavoie was gonna do great here. We all knew it. Like the moment I heard this is gonna be a musical, I was like, okay, Lavoie is gonna do great. And then they said, and you're gonna sing live, and I said, okay, Lavoie is winning. And I saw this performance, and I was like, oh, absolutely, she is. She absolutely
Hmm.
is this because the singing was there, the character was there. She was funny. She was able to like land all the jokes and like did I know this character? Absolutely not. Did I still laugh? Yes. And I think that's one of the things that like makes you a good comedian. Like if I don't know your character and I'm still able to laugh at your character,
Hmm.
that means that you're doing something correctly. And so I felt like Lavoie was doing a really good job. And as I said, she was the best singer. So like it wouldn't come as a shock, like that she would be in the top, she would win. So for me, yeah, she was my number one, honestly.
All right, what can you say? I agree. I think she was just, from the start to the finish, she knows how to perform. And yeah, I didn't know who Shirley Bassey was. Never heard her music, but she made me feel like that's who she was. So even if I didn't know who she was, I think I know her now from Lavoie. And if that's not her, she has convinced me that
Yeah.
that's her. So the real Shirley Bassey, you couldn't tell me that's not you, because I think that's you. Um, her, everything from the second that light hit her and she was making that face, and then she turned, the boys picked her up and dropped her, and she was like, "That's it? That's all you got? Thank you." It was just so good. and her facial expressions from the lip curls and the eyes, and when she's just like, it was just so good, and her tone and her voice is so rich and so, whoa, I just love it. I enjoyed Lavoie from beginning to the end. Even when she was in the background, I was still looking at her. So Lavoie was 100% my favorite of the night in this whole thing. Then we had after Lavoie came out, it was Marmalade as Elton John.
I mean, this outfit is just, I saw it and I was like, yes, yes, this is Elton John, absolutely. Like this, the glasses, the feathers, everything about it, I was just like, this is so Elton, and I am living for it. And I was really surprised by Marmalade because I was not expecting her to really be able to like give us the notes and the singing, and she was able to do it. And she gave this really fun, super energetic character, which, as I've said before, this is not a character that I would think Marmalade would do, but she did it really well and she really embodied it and she had so much fun with it. And that's, I think, what I loved most about it, the fact that you could tell that Marmalade was having fun, like when she was hitting her foot on the piano and she was getting on top of the piano and jumping off of it, like she was having so much fun with this character. And that's what I really really loved. And the character was there, the singing was there, shockingly to me. And so I was living. Marmalade was my number two.
Okay, so I like Marmalade in this role of Elton John. I felt like, I mean, I wasn't that surprised because Marmalade let us know very early that she was in musical theater and she's a theater kid, so she knows this and she could do a character. She let us know. So I wasn't surprised that the musicality was there. Wasn't surprised that she could act it out. What I was surprised was that she took Elton John, who's a flamboyant, very loud character, and to, like, brought him down a little bit. Like she was took it so seriously that I felt like it lacked a little bit of the flamboyancy of Elton John and a little bit of the fun of an Elton John. And I wanted her to be like really, really bitchy because Elton John back in the day was very, very bitchy. Like his feud with Madonna was one for the books, one for the ages. They had a feud, and I was like, wait a minute. What do you mean two white artists are beefing like they beefing? Like they were beefing before Tupac and Biggie were beefing. And I was like, wait a
Wow.
minute. Hold on. I remember that. So I wanted her to be more Elton John bitchy. Like,
Mhm.
especially when she mentioned the whole Madonna thing, was like, who? Oh, no, no, we're friends now. I wanted it to be a little bit more. I felt like
Okay.
she took it a little serious, which is not a hugely bad thing, but it felt like it lacked a little bit of fun for me. But I enjoyed her doing it. I do agree with Graham about the headpiece with the with the glasses. It kind of made her head look a little small, almost like a Pez dispenser, and you know how the Pez dispensers are, and then
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
her head looked like the top of the Pez dispenser in that outfit with all that stuff. But other than that, I really enjoyed her. But
Mhm.
she was my fourth.
Okay,
She was my fourth.
that's fair.
She was my fourth. But then after not Marmalade came out, we had Kyron come out as George Michael.
Yeah. I mean, this is what I expected from Kyron in this character. Like, point blank and period, this is exactly what I was expecting. She's done this type of character a lot. And that's exactly why I think it didn't hit as hard as I think it could have,
Mm-hmm.
because everything was there, the characterization was there, the funny was there, and Kyron is a good singer, so everything was in place. The only thing is that we've seen Kyron do this character now 3 times,
Yep.
and like, is it good? Yes, but is it something that I've already seen? Yes. So, I I did not feel like shocked or surprised like I did for Marmalade. Like I
Mm-mm.
was like, yeah, this is exactly what I expected, and you're at the level at which you should be. So you didn't do badly, but you didn't like wow me either, which is really
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate because this character could have wowed me if it was literally everybody anybody else.
Anybody else? Mm-hmm.
But since we've seen Karen do this character so many times, it kind of lost a little bit of its spark. So for me, that's why Karen is fourth for me.
Mm. I feel you. I agree with you. Kyron, everything was what it was supposed to be. Everything was how I predicted it was going to be and how I thought it was going to go. And she gave me everything that she gave me in Elvis. She gave me everything that she gave me in Hugh Grant. Every character, every male character that she played was this. And it was very good. Jokes were funny. Dance was on. Musicality was great. Everything was spot on, but nothing surprised me.
Mhm.
Nothing was like, oh, never saw that before. It was like, okay, huh, okay, that was good. What's that? And that's why for me, she was my third. I do think she did well, but I
Yeah.
just don't think it was surprising. And that's unfortunate. I really, really enjoyed the performance of Kyron. I just really, really wanted something different. And I think her putting herself in this character pigeonholes her into like all she's going to do is be a good male character. Like, there's no range. That's the only thing. I'm not seeing range.
Okay.
So like I said, was it bad? Absolutely not. Nobody was bad. It
Yeah.
was just not as surprising as I thought. After Kyron, we had Relisa as Adele.
I was gagged. I was shocked. This is like Relisa was the one that wowed me the most out of anyone here. Because the entire episode she was saying, I am not a singer. I'm gonna struggle in this. This is not for me. And then she came out with this really rich, beautiful voice. And I was just like, what what do you mean? What do you mean you're not a singer? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
How did you because what we saw first, it was like, okay, you're good, you're fine,
Hmm.
you need to work on it. And now it's just like, oh, you're really good. You're like, I would dare I say, Relisa was the second best singer out of this group.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
only Lavoie was better than her, and that's because Lavoie has so many years of experience singing, which like it doesn't surprise me. But like, Relisa has no experience singing. She has never done it professionally. She doesn't have a coach to do it. So the fact that she's so good at doing it, like I was
She needs
gagged.
to get one. She needs to get one.
Oh,
And
absolutely. She does. She absolutely
at
needs
this
one.
point, she needs to get one and put live singing into her act, baby,
Oh,
because it was
absolutely, she does. And then the actual performance was good. She was performing well, and with like a gown, it's kind of tough to like do all the moves that she was doing, and she hit all of her moves great, and she was still funny. I really enjoyed the switch from her singing voice to her character voice. It was so different. I was kind of living for that. It was so funny to me. It was really funny, and really so was the one that wowed me the most. So yeah, was it like my favorite character? I will say no because it's Adele, and so she there's not a lot of meat in the bone already there. So that's why she's third. But like, it's not fault of her own. It's fault of like the script because we picked Adele, and Adele doesn't have a lot to really go off of, unlike the other way more flamboyant characters. If you know what I
hmm
mean.
hmm Oh, I agree with you on so many points. Relisa like shocked me with that rich tone, that voice came out of nowhere, and I was like, "Oh, wow, wasn't expecting that." I loved her performance. I liked how she went from and here's the thing, I liked the song that she was just like, "I'm gonna sing another sad song because 'cause I'm full of scars," and it was just so funny, and, like, because Adele is just she was a park and bark girl, like, she goes sit, she goes stand there and flat foot sang, and Releasa was doing that, she was grabbing the mic and she was putting it to the side and she was doing Adele, and then when she went into the character of Adele, and like Adele, be like, I can't do the accent, but
Mhm.
she just starts talking, and Adele watching the clips from her Vegas residency when she's just talking to the audience and things are happening and she's reacting to it, and it's so funny. And Relisa did it so well. I enjoyed that so much. I loved how she was bantering when she was like, "I thought Alan was supposed to be here. I only came here because of Alan." I was just like, "Nah." It was so funny. It was so good. I enjoyed it so much. And because she surprised me so much with that voice, that's why she was my number two.
Fair. I respect
That's why
that.
she was my number two. And then we had Octavia come out as Jerry, and everybody was like, "What are you doing here?" Because it was Jerry and Octavia.
Yeah, I mean, I've always had an issue with Octavia when it comes to her dancing and her performing and her lip syncing, which is the way that she hits the moves. Because the way that she hits her moves is so like, I don't know how else to describe it other than violent. Like she is like hitting the moves, but like she's violently hitting those moves. Like she's here, and then she's doing here, and then she's doing this, and she's going so fast and so hard on it, where I'm like, calm down a little bit. Like I feel like she doesn't flow. Like she goes
Mm-hmm.
from here to here, and there's no like nice movement. And so that's one of the things that I personally like have an issue with when it comes to like when Octavia lip syncs or performs. But that's just me. Uh, this character, I thought she did fine. I was not really like impressed. I felt like I, as I said, I didn't know this character a lot. I knew that she was Ginger Spice, but like I didn't find anything particularly funny, and I felt like the character got lost on me a little bit. So yeah, that's why for me Octavia is number six. She just got lost for me.
I agree. I agree with you about her. My thing is, I did know who Jerry Holloway was, and I did know her nuances and the things that made her character her, and that was the problem because I don't think Octavia did. And Octavia is look, her name is Octavia. The octave levels that she has when she dances is through the roof. Like there is no she goes from 0 to 60. There's no in between. Like she is right there. Like 0 to 100. Like she is on every beat. The girl can dance. She has the skills and the technique to dance. She just doesn't have the flow to
Mhm.
like get into like sit into the pocket, get into the music. Everything is so hard. I gotta move that it's not a and sometimes the song is going boom, bam, 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 shaka, shaka,
Uh-huh.
and she's just like boom, boom,
Bam,
boom,
bam,
boom,
bam,
shaka,
bam.
shaka. Everything is so hard, and it's like, girl, you have to calm down and get into the mood rhythm. And Jerry doesn't dance like that. Like even in the Spice Girls, she gave the barest minimum and she did what she did to make it like she was spotting for the dance when they were performing it. She's like, ooh, 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 it was never so
Yeah.
that was the thing with Octavia for me. It was just a little too spastic, a little too a little too much when it didn't need to be that much. It could have brought it down a little bit and got into the pocket, into the sweet spot. But it wasn't horrible. Like I said, nobody did horrible in this. I think this was a really great overall musical. But for me, she would be my number six too. And finally, that leaves us with Tara T coming out as Kylie Minogue.
Yeah, I feel like if this was a different musical, Chara would just be the definition of safe.
Mm,
Unfortunately for her, there were four people that were better, so she does fall into that bottom three for me. But
mm-hmm,
like at no fault of her own. Like she didn't do anything wrong. Uh, her voice was fine. She's not a
mm-hmm.
great singer. That's like clearly not something that she's like super well known for. And if she is, I am sorry, Chara. But like this just doesn't feel like it's in her wheelhouse, like the singing and the dancing. And so she was clearly like struggling a little bit, but she was not doing badly. Like she was still keeping up, and I felt like the character was funny. I thought it was funny that like she was just saying gibberish half of the time. That, like happy
uh,
doopy puppy poo. Like yes, absolutely give me that.
that
Like
sounds like
what
a
does
hit.
padam padam mean? Like hello?
I
Hello?
mean, la 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 la. That's the song.
Yeah, that's it. Like
That's the
I
song.
got it. I thought it was funny. And yeah, Shara did all of those funny moments really well. It's just the fact that she wasn't perfect with the moves and she wasn't perfect with the singing, which the other four I think were a lot stronger when it came to the dancing and the singing. So as I said, if this was another Rusical, she would be the definition of safe. But unfortunately for her, this Rusical was so good that she unfortunately falls in fifth place for me.
Yes, she's fifth, but a very strong fifth for me because I felt like this was very strong for Chara. I think she did a really, really good job. I laughed the hardest at Chara. No lie, I laughed so much because the song itself was just foolishness. It was just pure foolishness. But it was like Kylie Minogue does not like her songs ain't the most prolific lyrical song out there that says, "Oh, it makes me think." Because, like you said, what is Padam Padam? I don't know, but she made it a hit. Don't
Yeah.
know what she took La 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 and made it her whole song, and it's like nothing prolific, nothing that makes you think like that's so deep. But
Yeah.
she made it a hit. So I loved how Chara came out and was just like she focused on the Australian accent, which I appreciated, and she
Yeah.
got that as much as she could with her British accent on top of it. And then she just kind of gave us the bare minimum of Kylie Minogue. Like Kylie is a dancer, and she probably could dance a little bit harder, but she was like, "Oh no, I'm not giving you no words, and I'm not giving you no dance, and it's gonna be fine." And I was like, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought I laughed the hardest at Chera. I was like, "Oh my god, this is so funny." But like you said, it was other performances that was a little bit better, but not because of anything lacking from Chera. It
Yeah.
was just they just performed it theirs a little better. She was hilarious. I'm gonna give her flowers. I
Oh, sounds like another hit.
I said, look at another hit. I laughed so much on this performance. It was great for me. Not mad at it at all. I thought it was so funny. But of course, we will get into the run with looks, but that is on look over here. So you might want to stick around for that and check that one out. But we do go into the judges' critiques, and everybody got critiqued this time, which was great.
Yeah.
Um, any critiques stand out to you that you want to talk about? Because I'm okay.
The only one that I really want to mention is the fact that Marmalade just keeps getting edged by RuPaul. Like she just cannot get that win. Like this is starting to get sad. Like always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Like she's like that meme that I've seen on Twitter before of Aja just going, "You're beautiful, you're gorgeous, you're incredible, you did amazing, you're safe." So it's just like
It is a lot.
I just don't know what Marm has to do at this point to really get that win. Hopefully next week, now that we've seen what it is, maybe next week she'll get it. But yeah, it's just like I'm feeling like what does Marm have to do to really win? Because she got really good critiques, but
Yeah.
spoiler alert, she doesn't win. So I'm just like, what? What does she have to do? What does she
Child.
have to do?
I don't know, but what did stand out to me, and I said it didn't, but some RuPaul gave Octavia
Oh yes,
the hugest like love bomb ever. She was like, "I don't know what it is, but I love you. I just love you. You are the bee's knees. You are." the hit parade. You are it. You're the it girl for me. I just love you. And for me, when the short time that I've watched Drag Race, I've never heard Ru tell somebody something like that so blatantly, like on the runway, like, oh my God, I love you. You are so great.
I mean,
I
there was
love
that one time that RuPaul did say, "I am your mother now," and
uh,
hugged a contestant. So
oh, I've never heard that.
yeah, it happened in season 11. You
Yeah,
should
see, yeah,
probably watch that. But
probably not.
yeah,
But
this is like this really felt like another "oh, you're born to do drag" moment, but like even
mm-hmm,
bigger. Like this was
mm-hmm.
just like, yes, quote unquote, I could tell you that you're born to do drag, but like that doesn't mean that I love you. I
All
think
right,
you are great at what you do, and I really appreciate what you're doing. And so that's a great compliment for Octavia, to the point where I was just like, okay, so we know that Octavia's probably gonna be in the bottom.
all right,
She's probably gonna stay. Like RuPaul is not gonna want to let her go at this point.
all right. It was just wild. But I was like,
Yeah.
oh. But we go to the Untucked, and some drama went down in the Untucked a little bit because Octavia tells um
Karen.
Kyron that, I don't want to be shady. I don't want to seem like I'm talking about you behind your back. But me and Chara had a conversation, and I kind of said that you were a little cocky, a little too confident, and it was very annoying. And at first, Kyron was like, "Oh," and she took offense, which I understand. And she was like, when I hear that, I'm first like, why are you worried about me? Focus on yourself and just do better, which I understand
Yeah.
and I get. And then she went through a moment of thinking, and like all in this short span of time, she was like telling LeVar, like, I've told you, why I am the way I am. And LeVar was like, I get it. We love you. I understand. But these girls are also here. You can let your guard down a little bit around these girls because we all love you and we all care about you. And that made Kyron think like maybe I am coming off a certain way, which I don't mean to, but I worked very, very hard to gain this confidence. And it's kind of, I don't want to lose that, but I also need to be aware of the other feelings that's in the room. And if I care about them like they care about me, I should care about their feelings as well, not just my own. And so she had a full moment of like reflection and being upset at first, and to saying her piece, but also coming to the conclusion that maybe I can dial it back a little bit so I'm not hurting anybody's feelings. And I appreciated that. I was like, love that. That's growth. That's maturity to let you to
Yeah.
not just jump to being defensive and stay that way. Like she was defensive, then she was like, let me think about this. Let you focus. Let me tell you what I think. You should focus on yourself, be better, blah, blah, blah. But also, I could also read the room a little bit. I can also, because just because when I'm winning, somebody else is losing. And
Yeah.
if they're constantly losing because I'm always winning, it doesn't feel right for them. And so if I care about them, I need to at least think about their feelings as well. Not saying I have to not be happy for myself and be proud of myself and dumb down who I am, but I also have to realize that some people aren't going to feel that way. So I don't have to talk about it constantly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
When this conversation happened, I wouldn't have blamed Karen for just being like very defensive and kind of bitter. Like I would not have blamed her at all if that's just how she reacted.
mhm,
But I was really glad that she did take a moment to be like, okay, let me calm down and let me actually
mhm,
listen to what these girls are saying and like hear their point of view. Because if they are actually bothered by this, and if I am actually coming across as cocky, that's not something I want to do, and that's something I want to change.
right.
Therefore, I need to listen and see what I can change. And I really, really appreciate that, because, as I said, like the immediate thought process for Karen and also for me would have been like defensiveness. Oh, I have to fight back. I have to protect myself. So as to like not like to say like, oh, I'm not cocky. I'm
Absolutely.
not this. I'm not that. And in the pressure cooker that is Drag Race, as I said, I would not have blamed her if that was just her only reaction. We've
Mm-hmm.
seen people react like this before, and it's like very normal. And sometimes you just need some time to actually think about it, and maybe the day after they come back and are like, yes, I actually now thought about it and I appreciate that you told me this. I'm glad that Karen had the maturity to be like, in the moment, immediately like, okay, hold on, I need to fix this. And I really appreciate that, and it made me like Karen even more. So I was like,
Absolutely.
honestly, I'm living. And so this really like made me think like, okay, so Karen is probably winning this season because she's kind of getting the Aquaria like um like storyline, which you probably don't know, Lana. I don't know if you know Aquaria, uh,
Mm-hmm.
but she's getting that storyline of like being really young, but then over throughout the season maturing and realizing like some of her wrongs and learning and doing better. Which if
Right.
that's the case, I would really be enjoying that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. But so after all of that, after they did the untucked and they did the thing, we go back out and we find out that our top three
Mhm,
is Lavoie, Kyron, and Relisa, because Marmalade was named Safe.
mhm.
And the winner of this challenge is Lavoie.
Slay. I was living.
No, I was like, "That's great. Nobody
Yes.
is that mad. I kinda love it."
Yeah, I was like, Launa's gonna be happy because Lavoie has finally caught up to Kyron, so she's gonna be really happy about this.
I
Uh,
mean, am I? I mean, well,
I
I
was gonna,
am. I am, I am, I am.
yeah, but I as I said, I kind of just wanted Marmalade to win it just because
Yes.
they keep telling her like, "Oh, you're great, you're amazing, you're beautiful, you're doing everything perfectly, you're safe." So like, I just really need her to like get a win at some point, and hopefully next week, which as I said is like a look challenge, maybe that's the moment in which she can win it. But I was still happy for Lavoie. As I said, she was my number one, so I was not
I
upset.
mean
I
I
was
mean,
not upset.
I'm not upset because she did kinda eat the Rusical up, so I'm
Mhm.
not that mad at it.
Yeah.
But we do have our bottom 3, which was Octavia, Chara, and Lil. Which I get. These
Yeah.
were my bottom 3 as well, if I was thinking, but like I said, nobody did super, super bad in this Rusical. I thought the Rusical was really good.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't bad. I wasn't mad at it, but I understood why these 3 were the bottom 3.
Mhm.
But our Tara was named Safe, so our bottom 2 was Octavia and Leo,
Mhm.
and, they had to do a lip sync to Time Warp from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And I love this because I love this song.
I do too. I was so happy. I was so happy. I love Rocky Horror Picture Show, and this was great. I was
It's a good
living.
one. This is a good one.
Uh,
I mean, with the theme of the
it was.
runway,
It felt
eh,
surreal. It
it
did
felt
feel surreal.
wild. It felt wild watching the from what they did in the runway
Uh
to
huh.
what they them doing Time Warp. Okay, because the category of the runway was a night of 1,000 Princess Dianas, and so
So
to see 2 people dressed like Diana singing Time Warp, what world were we living in?
especially Octavia, that was wild.
It
Like because in the movie, like it's a lot of people with like the suits and everything, and so I was
Mhm,
just like, okay, Lil looks a little crazy here because she is Princess Diana, but like
mhm,
this kind of outfit I could actually see in like Rocky Horror Picture Show, just a little bit like nastier and sexier. But
mhm.
Octavia with this outfit, I was just like, hello, hello, this is wild. This is absolutely wild. And yet again, my problem came up. Octavia, the way that she was hitting the moves was so violent that I was like, hello? hello, calm down. Like I felt like Lil really like just flowed a little bit better, and like it
Mm-hmm.
felt more like she really like just was enjoying herself and just like was having fun with it. Octavia looked a little bit desperate for me because she was the moves were really wild. The moves were, especially with the time warp again doing this, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
hello, what is going on here? Because I get that the move is this, it's
Mm-hmm.
not this. So I'm losing my mind looking at Octavia doing this and Lil's just doing this. So I'm just like, for me, Lil did win this lip sync.
It's the musicality of it all. It's the way that you perform it, and it's the performance. And I felt like Octavia. I don't know if she even really saw Rocky Horror Picture Show for real, or
I
understood
mean, she at least knew the
She knew
choreo of
that
it.
part. Let's do the time warp again. Like even if you don't see, if
She
you've
didn't.
heard that,
She didn't even do it right though. Like she was
and
crossing her arms,
I think
and that's
somebody
not.
probably told her that was the move. Like I don't even know if she ever seen it. I think she was told that was the move.
You know what? That
But
makes sense.
I just feel like Lil was somebody who watched the movie, understood the what it was about and what that part of the song was. So I felt like she did it the way, and like even from the very beginning, I knew Lil was winning this one. When she took it off and she was like, then she threw that her purse out and was kind of like, she just felt embodied the song and embodied the movements. I loved it, and I thought Lil wanted to, and so did the judges because Octavia was unfortunately eliminated.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
the moment that they said time is fleeting, I was like, okay, Lil is winning.
Mhm.
So unfortunately, Octavia did lose, and like this just felt like her time. This, there's sometimes where like a girl has been doing pretty okay, but just hasn't been able to really reach her full potential.
Mhm.
You're just like, well, I think at this point it's a little too late. And even if you do get a win, I don't see you making the finals. So it's just a
Mhm.
matter of time. And that's the way I kind of felt about Octavia. I was just like, you haven't been doing badly so far. You have lip synced before, but that doesn't really mean anything for me.
Mhm.
But like, you haven't really stood out that much for me. Like when it came to the actual performances, I felt like you haven't really been able to show your full potential, which I know you can be able to. I just feel like she just needed a little bit more time and she would have really been there. Like I feel like Octavia is such a young queen that like she just needs to cook a little bit more and then she will be where she needs to be. Like for an all stars, I think she could do a really good job. I just think she needs like 1 or 2 more years.
Right. Agreed. I agree with you. I enjoyed Octavia, but I think it was definitely her time to go, unfortunately. But let's get into the draft update because there is a draft update, and the draft goes as follows. In fourth place is Logan with 39 points. In third place is David with 44 points. In second place is Eris with 59 points. And in first place, it is moi, but not by much, with 59.5 points. I am still hanging in there with
That half
Kyron and
point.
Lil.
That half point.
That
And
half
also the
point,
fact that you
baby.
have Kyron really helps.
And Lil won her lip sync thing for the half
Yes.
point. Thank you. I don't mind it at all. I'm here for it.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, that's that, y'all. We talked about it, but next week we do have a family makeover challenge,
Mhm.
and we see some moms, we see a dad, we see some people.
Yes.
So I'm excited to see what these girls do with their loved ones and see what happens in the makeover challenge. Um, I'm excited. I can't wait to see what
Yeah.
goes down. But we will be back here next week to talk about all of it. I don't know who's gonna be here. We may be here. we might not be here. We might be
Who
a whole new
knows?
panel. Who knows what happens? But somebody's going to be here talking about Drag Race UK
Yeah.
episode 8. But we thank you for joining us. We thank you for sticking around with us this entire time. If you stuck around, please hit the subscribe button on your way out if you haven't already done that. If you haven't done that, I don't know what you're waiting for. Go do it right now. Just do it. Do it right now. We'll wait. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And get your friends to do it too. We also have 3 other channels that you could follow and support and do all of the things. So go to our link tree, which will be in the description below. Click on all those YouTube links and follow and subscribe to all of those channels as well as our audio podcast link, which is down there if you need to check us out on the go. And our Patreon is down there, so you can get all of the extra content and exclusive content and early access to all of our look over here's, including the one we're about to do next. So you want to do that, join the Patreon, get some extra stuff, and follow us on all of our socials at The Cut Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And you can follow Eduardo and myself on Twitter if you wanna. And if you keep scrolling down, you can see the link for your cup merch. Get your cup merch, including but not limited to the cup mug. And on that note, y'all, we're gonna get out of here. So cheers.
Cheers.
Bye. Go forth and do. Bye.
Go forth and do.